Well, how y'all doing? I know it's been a little while since I made a video, but thought I'd let you know what's going on. I have in the past, I don't know, it's been 6 months since I put out a video where I had got this 6-liter done in the car. Got it running. I think that was the last video I ever made. Since then, a couple of us, John and I, we fabbed up this turbo setup. It's pretty standard. It's just a 6-liter. It's actually a high compression 6-liter. It's like 12.5 to 1 compression. It's got a BTR Stage 2 truck cam. I don't even think they offer this cam anymore. This cam's just been out that long, and it's been sitting in a box, so I put it in this engine, and hopefully it works well. The air-to-water intercooler right here from Tick Performance, same one I had last year, the same one I still don't have plumbed up. I do have everything to plumb it up, I just haven't got that far. It's using the same Holley high ram that I had on the last engine. The lifter valley plate, if you want to call it that, I don't know what it's actually called. I welded the dash 12 bungs in it for the crankcase ventilation to go to the catch can. Luckily I had enough room under the intake to do it. I just didn't want it on the valve covers. Let's see, factory truck coils, factory valve covers, just had the crankcase ventilation holes welded up in it. Nothing fancy there. Hooker, what are they called? Hooker turbo manifolds. Just same set I've had for a long time. I just welded a 3-inch elbow up to a T6 flange and put my wastegate stuff on it, if you can see that. If my wastegate don't look right now because I've got it apart, but so 3.5-inch pipe up to the throttle body where it goes to a 4-inch up into the plenum. This is a Holley plenum. I kind of like it. I don't know if I did the right thing or not, but for what I was trying to do at the given moment, it was the right thing to do. Now, what I was trying to do was make sure that I could package as much stuff under the hood as possible. And I think I've done that. The only things that will be sticking up is the intake plenum and the exhaust pipe, which if you haven't already noticed, the 4-inch aluminum exhaust just comes up here by the intake. And that was kind of a last minute thing that we decided to do, and it turned out really good. Or I think it turned out really good. Everybody else may hate it. I don't know. I don't care. Transmission cooler. It's just a Darrell or Darnell or whatever. I don't know. Can't remember how it's pronounced or what it is. Don't know the part number. Pretty common transmission cooler. The throttle body is a 102 millimeter Holley. It actually belongs to another guy, which I'll just buy him another one, I guess. JGS blow-off valve. I don't know if I have it set up right or not, but it seemed to work the one time that we got on the throttle, or a couple times we got on the throttle. So, anyways, I rolled into the throttle a couple times. The throttle cable was too long, so it never went to full throttle. But John has shortened it for me. It is waiting on me at his house. The cooling system. Same all-star radiator that I had before. It just barely fit in the car. And it would keep the car cool going down the road, but the fan that I had on it was not doing a good job. So it might be sitting in the staging lanes and the thing would be warming up. So I bought this Darrell Performance dual fan setup that was supposed to fit this radiator, and it didn't. So I trimmed it up and I made it work. And that thing weighs a ton, and I thought, man, that piece of sheet metal, I guess, is really just a heavy gauge sheet metal. I don't know what it weighs, but it seems like it just weighs a lot. Like the cooling system weighs just an enormous amount. And I actually took the electric fans out of it, and then the sheet metal part was super light. It's just the electric motors are that heavy, and it's got good motors in it. But now, sitting still, the thing stays cool. Like, I am so happy that the thing stays where it needs to be at. I don't have the right thermostat in it. It stays about 190, and that's because the thermostat is just, I just need a different thermostat. Let's see. Same FTI level 4 transmission, turbo 400 transmission. Nothing changed there. That is probably the best thing I've ever bought for the whole car. And I say that because it was the only thing I didn't have to mess with. I just put it in there, and some bitch hasn't missed a lick the whole time I've had it. It works really good. The Ford 9-inch, quick performance Ford 9-inch, I still got oil leaking past the seals. Whatever. It's got 456 gears in it. Spool. I would like to change that to a 323 with a Eaton True Track limited slip posi differential. That's what I'd like to have in it. So, what else going on here? Radiator that I had a guy weld the fitting on top of it. It's a dash 16 fitting welded to the top of the radiator. Actually, the whole cooling system is dash 16 lines until you get over here to the catch can. And that's the only thing. I guess it could blow off, but I did AN lines on the rest of it, so that way none of the hoses would ever blow off, supposedly. You know how that goes. I am running power steering on this car because it is not, or I've never bought a manual box for this car, and this thing without power steering is the hardest thing I've ever driven. As far as a car without power steering, it's just absolutely horrible. So I put the pump back on it, and it's a factory Silverado pump, so I can go to a parts store if it ever fails. And then I've got a factory Silverado alternator on it, factory belt length. I have an ICT belt tensioner, and it's a nice piece, but I bought it when I had the blower set up on the car, and I was trying to keep the belt real tight, but I could go back to a factory tensioner and it's fine. Let's see, what else have I got going on? Check out this support John and I made. He welded it up. I bent the tubes to get roughly where it needed to be at, and then John took off with it and he made it awesome. So it's got this support here that mounts to the T6 flange, and it has one other one that goes down to the bottom of the block, like where the AC bolts on. And the reason for that is the engine actually has solid motor mounts on it. But the way this chassis flexes around, whatever, it's just a factory G-body setup. I wanted the turbo to move with the engine. I didn't want to solid mount the turbo to the frame. Because I know that just wouldn't work out very well. Stuff would be cracking later on. I'm not going to say stuff ain't going to be cracking now, but it could. So, if you want to see the rest of the car, there's nothing fancy about it. It's got GTO, like 04 GTO spare wheels. They're painted gold. I bought them off a guy over in Missouri. Isn't that the Show Me State? Yeah. Well, they showed me a set of wheels, and by golly, I bought them. So, 2-inch lowering spindles on the car, but I'm going to take those off. It's just making life miserable. Even though I like the way the car looks, is sitting low. It's just, as far as wheel option goes, it kills you on wheel options. For some reason, the spindle hits or not the spindle so much as the lower A-arm hits every set of wheels you put on it. The rear tires are actually a 255 drag radial. I don't remember exactly what's going on here. Just a Mickey Thompson ET Street 255 60 R15. They are slipping on the wheel. That's pretty typical. Mickey Tohampson. So, nothing's really changed on the inside. I just finished up wiring up actually it was already wired. I just had to set up my inputs and outputs on my Holley Terminator system. This is still ran by the same Holley Terminator I've had for a few years. It's never given me any problem. The thing works great. And I've always did my own tuning on the car, except for this year. I wanted to have, what's his name? Is it Trevor Coulter? I wanted to have him tune it, and I just don't have time to mess with that. I'd rather just not. Trevor had a good idea. He wants to, and he said he spends so many hours every month or every week trying to go back and forth with people that are doing email tunes, and he says he wants to do live access on the laptop and tune it that way, which that's a great idea. I'm all for it. Just don't have time to really put two and two together while trying to work and take care of kids and whatever. So I'm thinking it's either going to be him if I find the time, or a guy named something Blevins down in Elizabeth, Indiana. I'm going to have him dyno tune it probably, just so I can take it down there, have somebody else do it, and it's a done deal. So let's see, nothing else new on the car. I haven't cut the hood yet for it to fit this intake. There's already a huge hole in the hood anyway, so I really need to find a different hood. And that hood weighs a ton. I can't stand the idea of putting that hood back on, but I need to look at fiberglass hoods again. I think maybe if I can find one for a decent price, I'll probably go with a fiberglass hood this year. Let's see, what else? What else is there? I mean, factory interior car. It's not in great shape, but gas gauge works, volt gauge works, lights, turn signals, factory gas tank. Got a Grand National fuel sending unit with two 340 liter per hour fuel pumps, 60 pound an hour Deca injectors. I don't know what kind of power this thing will make. Well, the way it is. I was hoping for maybe 700 or 800. With this current fuel system, I don't know. I don't know if it'll do it. But, we'll see. I just want to get the thing to where I can just drive it. I want to be able to drive it to town. I used to drive it to town all the time. Used to drive it to the track. I did buy it in an enclosed car trailer. So, I will probably trailer it to the track. But I do want to be able to drive it to town if I feel like it. It's nice to be able to trailer it to the track, 'cause you'll have your tools and stuff with you. And, if you break the car, at least you got a way home, That's the main concern. I used to be like, no trailer. I'm just not going to trailer anything to the track. But there's been a couple times where I had to have somebody haul me back. Actually, I think just once. I've been able to limp my way home every other time. But, I blew up an engine. Was that last year? No, 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know. I'm gonna blame it on COVID that I don't even feel like existed, or I'm gonna blame it on. It's not my tuning. It has to be something else. So yeah. Anyways, I was in the middle of changing my wastegate springs when I decided to make a video. So new engine. I had 20 pound springs in it to begin with. The one spring looked like a coil spring out of a car. But I went through, let's see, I saved my paperwork. I have a Milwaukee pack-out box just for nitrous jets and wastegate springs. And I figured out that I just want to stick 6 PSI in it for right now. And it is a black and brown spring, and that's what I have. Black and a brown stripe. They just have a stripe on them. So there's brown and then, or black, and then this one's brown. Yeah, the other one's black. All right. So Precision Turbo does not make this wastegate anymore, and it sucks because I really like this wastegate. Not because of its size. I think it's a 40. I can't remember if it's a 40 or a 44. And I mean, just as soon as I bought these things, I bought 2 of them and they quit making them. They quit offering them. I can't even find flanges for them. So I have to buy Turbo Smart flanges and then put them in a lathe and cut them to make them work on this wastegate. So I wanted the wastegate to be easily accessible. And I'll show you why I like this wastegate so much is because of this cap. This cap actually has a big threaded nut on it. So I can push this thing straight down with my hand and spin the nut on easy by myself. So I can change the springs in this thing easily by myself, no matter where I am. Before, if you had this wastegate like pointing upside down, the last time I set it up that way, I had to use a floor jack to get the thing put back together. I don't have a boost controller set up yet. I mean, the Terminator system has a built-in boost controller, but I don't have the MAC valves or a CO2 system or any of that stuff to make it work correctly. So right now, I'm just doing springs, and we should be fine. It should, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. So I know I can't do this while holding the phone at the same time because that's my camera. Let's see if I can set it up somewhere. All right, best I can do on a camera angle. Put the cap on the springs, and then oh. Come on. Here we go. All right. And then you just tighten it with this wrench. Maybe, if I can figure out how to work said wrench. Ow. Charlie bit my finger. Alright. Alright, done. It is dyno ready, I think. I've done everything I can think of at the moment to make sure this thing's good to go. Second fuel pump comes on at half throttle. Trans brake's ready to go. 2-step's supposed to be ready to go. Get this off. I think it's ready. All right. If you've got any questions, I will do my best to get back to the comments. There's been a lot of comments, and I have not been able to spend any time on YouTube. Probably a good thing, but every time I come to work on this car, I'm going as fast as I can because I only get a few hours here and there. For those of you who don't know, I actually sold my shop, and I had another kid. Actually, I found out I was having another kid, and then I decided I better sell the shop and buy a dumb house because I was living in an apartment, 1-bedroom deal. So, working on getting a house right now. The housing market this has just been the absolute worst time to be buying a house, but you know, it is what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do. So, the house has got a couple little garages, and we will be doing more YouTube videos later on. And so yeah, we're finally getting this wrapped up. And then I have another project that I cannot wait to get started on. This car is probably going to have the interior gutted on it here pretty soon, but I've got another vehicle coming up. It's actually here. The motor is here. The transmission, I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing on the transmission yet, but I am super excited to get started on it. Anyhow, like I said, if you got any comments, ask whatever you want. Just don't hate me if I don't get back to you, immediately. But I'll do my best. All right, see ya.